Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing using taco sauce. Yes, taco sauce to boost search rank. So you might be asking yourself, what the heck is taco sauce? Don't worry, we're going to get into it. How do sellers use the taco sauce data, and what technology is available to rank products on Amazon better today? Welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast.
Lunch with Norm.
Okay, we're back. Today, we're going to be discussing using taco sauce to boost your search rank. And our guest is a buddy of mine, co-founder and chief product officer for DeepM.ai, a marketplace for competitive intelligence platform that leverages big data and machine learning to help brands take over search rank on Amazon by exploiting strengths and weaknesses among the competition. That's not a run-on sentence. Okay, over his 17 years in e-com, his award-winning agency has grown brands to over $3 billion. And yes, that's billion with a B. So let's welcome, pretty soon we'll welcome Brian R. Johnson. Okay, let's have a word from our sponsor. And I guess that's me, Kels. All right, let me just get over to our sponsor, which I think, Kels, you did not put into the document. I'll wait. Maybe I'll sing the theme of Jeopardy.
Let's do the start, scale, exit, repeat first.
Oh, okay. Luckily, I just happen to have the book right here. In fact, I think Kelsey's at Colin's office right now. All right, so this is Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. It's a book authored by my buddy Colin C. Campbell, and it's about your entrepreneurial journey. It breaks down the start, the scale, the exit, repeat cycles, and it goes into 4 different sections, exact same sections for each one of the modules, and then there's a bunch of subsections. It is an awesome book for anyone, no matter where you are within your entrepreneurial journey. So check it out on Amazon in Kindle format or soft hardcover, and it's also available on Audible. And I should mention, since it's been on Amazon, it's had about 15 number 1 categories, and I think it was number 2 last week in small business. So going strong. Okay, now let's get back. Where are you?
Hello.
How are you? Little world traveler, you? I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. It looks like we've got Near in the comment section. It's good to see you.
Good to see Near.
And yeah, we've got a great episode today. We're welcoming back Brian Johnson. I know it's been a while. Me and Brian were talking before this call, saying the last time, I think it was about 3 years ago, that he's been on the podcast. So
wow, I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, time flies. So anyways, we just send out the newsletter Monday, so make sure you check those out. We've got a pretty fun story, and that goes out every Monday. It has a bunch of tips, Amazon tips, recapping last week's episode as well. And yeah, also make sure you check out the Facebook group. I'll drop the link in the comment sections, and I think we're good to go.
Okay, what was I forget, what was the story? Just give me
the Dominican Republic, when you had a van that rolled.
Oh, yeah, where I did the yoga. I never had my
yoga poses,
legs around my head before, except for that. Yeah, that was interesting. Okay, that's a good story. So check it out in the newsletter. Okay, so let's get into this. All right, Kels, why don't you get out of here and sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and let's bring in Brian.
You guys are hilarious. You guys are just cracking me up the whole time. That was awesome. How are you doing, Norm? It's been a very long time.
I know. I like, since you ghosted me at the Kevin King party. I haven't seen you in quite some time.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid you, but
I know.
There was other drama going on there.
Oh, oh, geez. I'm gonna cough just a sec. Yeah, one of the things that we've been able to do, this goes back to the Dave Kettner days, Amazon and beyond. You came out to quite a few of our live events and got to travel and hang out with you all over the globe. I mean, you were in Greece, you were in Costa Rica. Was it just the two, or did you go out to 3?
I mean, I've been to several. They weren't all yours, but they weren't like all Dave's and everything. But yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate to be able to go to some very cool locations over the years. So yeah, I know Greece is probably one of the most memorable. Costa Rica second, probably, I would say.
Was that because of me?
Of course it was. Yeah. What do you think? I ghosted you at the Christmas party.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, so what have you been up to? What is Deep M?
Wow.
I know for like Canopy, but what's Deep M?
Yeah, I mean, like the short version is like that's kind of the transition a lot of people haven't caught up on it, because I've been we'll call it underground, to be cute here. It's like underground for the last 20 months or so. And so as most people know, it's like I've been in the Amazon space for about a little over 10 years. Started out with things like PPC Scope, and then Sponsor Products Academy, and then Canopy Management. Canopy Management, rocketed up to, Inc. 500 kind of agency. Did very well there. And then I retired from Canopy Management. I sold off the other businesses. Those were acquired. And then I retired from Canopy Management just a couple of months ago, back in March. So that freed me up so that I could focus entirely on the startup that I've been working on with another partner for the last year and a half. And that's called deepm.ai, which, as you could probably quickly gather, has something to do with artificial intelligence. It is machine learning and artificial intelligence. It predates the chatbots, though. Not just another, chat GPT kind of, language model. It's before that. In fact, we haven't integrated it in yet. But the short version of this is we did something that I always wanted to do. It's something I've always talked about over the years when it came to advertising conversion rates, still in the Amazon space. And that is like, if we really could afford to do, and we had the technology to do, like, monitor everything, like collect a huge amount of data, what would we discover? Or, could I prove some of my academic theories that I had back in the day, back from a few years ago? And, where would that actually provide some kind of a benefit when it came to selling on Amazon? So jumping forward, we did build an engine that collects a lot of data. So it takes several thousand data points from a single product niche, right? A subcategory, and analyzes it in 100 different ways. It balloons up so that the analysis that essentially requires machine learning to do, because you couldn't have a human team spend that many hours on one subcategory. It's just not feasible. But we're talking about, right now we're about in the 10 to 30 points that we analyze. And we're getting ready to expand up to 1 to 200 million data points. Just because that's how much data that we're collecting from multiple locations, both on Amazon and off. So the short version of why, not just to prove academic theories and, to answer, new frontier questions, but to actually figure out what's the benefit. The primary benefit, not the only, but the primary benefit is we can, well, let me kind of give an example on this. So, how brands sell, like rebates and the giveaways and these kind of things. They do some kind of promotion that spikes them up to page 1 or the top of page 1. Yep. And then it slides right back down again a few weeks later. Got it. And the service did their job. They said, cool, we're done. we were successful, but the brand is left with like, okay, I'm right back to where I was, give or take, a few search terms as far as ranking. And the question was never answered. It's like, why? Why did it spike up? Why did it fall back down again? How come I can't hold it? Because of the data research that we did, we know exactly why now. I hate to agitate a common phrase, but well, I won't say we reverse engineered, but we identified about 30 ranking factors among A9 that make a real impact on the search results, and it varies from one product niche to another. And so our biggest impact is on the search rank and knowing exactly how to edge out the competition, how to get ahead of them in the first place, how to hold that position so that we can have permanent search rank. Permanent, aside from Amazon doing false positives and doing some of the crap that they do, but a permanent search rank simply because we've got so much situational awareness of what our products are and their strengths and weaknesses against what the strengths and weaknesses of our competitors in a specific product niche. And we know exactly what needs to tweak and what has changed from week to week. So very detailed.
I'm kind of interested. I wasn't going to go down this rabbit hole, but on the costing structure. So is it a membership, or like, how do people work with your company?
Well, right now we only have, so we went from alpha to beta in 2023. So we're still in a closed beta group. So closed beta testing. So it's essentially, it's either by invite only or by application only, out on our deepm.ai site. And we're currently only working with our test group still it's a paid beta, but it is focused specifically on Amazon US marketplace 3P. Now, this is a technology that will go out, to Walmart, to Temu, to TikTok, to Mercado Libre, etc. So it has the ability, any marketplace that has a search functionality to it, we can reverse engineer. And we've done some testing on that, but we haven't expanded out. We haven't even expanded out to the other Amazon markets yet. So right now it's 3P, Seller Central accounts, brand, registered. Ideally, those that have at least one product family. In other words, with multiple children, at least one. And ideally, those that are doing, I would say, like over the past year, have had at least several hundred orders. So a single product startup wouldn't be a good fit for this kind of analysis. It just wouldn't make sense for that.
Right.
Yeah, but right now it's a private beta.
All right. Well, since this is Lunch with Norm and I'm hungry, let's talk about taco sauce.
All right. So taco sauce is something that actually came from that one of our beta testers, who's done a phenomenal job working with us since October, I guess it was. And we were talking about a third metric that we commonly refer to, which is ACO-SAS, right? And ACO-SAS is essentially it's similar to ACOS and similar to tacos in that it measures the difference of ad spend to some sales jump. Is okay. We either say ACOS, which is ad spend relative to ad sales, right? Or we jump all the way up to ad spend relative to all sales. Now, all sales includes ad sales, includes search sales, includes all other search sales that are neither search nor sponsored. So everything else in the sub pages, off Amazon, everything, right? And so we make this jump, but right in the middle is the whole search engine piece of A9 and the search sales that come as part of, having a product show up in the search grid and, ranking high and all this kind of stuff in search results. What is commonly referred to as organic, and that's a debatable term. But the search sales didn't have its own metric. And so we started using internally, we started using what we call ACO-SaaS, which is, advertising cost of search and ad sales. And there's reasons that we did that, but the conversation with one of our beta testers says, it's like, oh yeah, I was using ACO sauce. And I just had to, it was too easy. It's like that just sounds too close to taco sauce. I'm not gonna let that one go. So it's cute, but kind of like tacos is cute. It's not accurate, but it's cute. I'm going to use the same thing with taco sauce. So, but ultimately what taco sauce is simply just referring to is measuring the effectiveness promotions, your ad spend against search sales, not just sponsored sales and not just everything else, all inclusive.
Okay. And what about the data? So how do sellers find the taco sauce data?
Yeah, absolutely. So certainly at Deep M, we take a much deeper approach than any brand can feasibly do on their own. But so there's certainly plenty of things that you can do that you can go into say brand analytics, and you can most people are aware of search query performance reports, search term impression share reports. There's multiple reports that people are familiar with, but they don't really live and breathe it. I'll give a shout out to Ritu Java, who with her platform, she integrated kind of a time series of search query performance. And I've always been impressed in how she does that because it's a good practice in order to go in and to monitor from week to week or month to month or quarter to quarter, however you want to do it, to see how things are changing when it comes to the data that is inside search query performance. And so for those who haven't looked at search query performance or SQP in a while, it is a brand analytics report that primarily focuses on search term traffic, either to the brand as a whole or to each individual ASIN product, and essentially is going to tell you a couple of things. It's going to tell you if you look at a specific search query performance at the ASIN level, it's going to what are the top search terms, which is probably 80-90% of the total sales, search sales will show up there. What are the search terms that Amazon has already recognized, indexed for your product, recognizes enough that it's showing up, it's indexed, it shows up in search, and it's actually getting a click. So you start seeing like, okay, what are all the search terms for each that shoppers are engaging with? And it goes so far as to give you things like comparative conversion rates to the rest of the product niche, comparative click-through rates. So you really, it is a competitive intelligence. In other words, it provides you enough data to give a pretty good overview. Now, it's not complete, and that's kind of one of the reasons why you have to go to big data in order to really solve some of the hidden questions and hidden answers. But it is a great place to start, is get into brand analytics, get familiar with the search query performance, and drill it down all the way down for each of start out with maybe your top 3 ASINs and study it. Go back. You can go back and look at like, okay, I'm going to grab, let's take like the easiest route is, okay, let me look at Q2 of 2023, Q3 of 2023, Q4 of 2023, and then Q1 of 20. In other words, the last 4 quarters, right? Compare those out. Now, there's ways that you can stitch those together in Excel, and you can use things as far as like Sankey charts or stream graph charts. If you're that data science capable, you can stream those together to see what the flow is and where things are growing, shrinking, and growing when it comes to the search terms and how your products are doing in search rather than just ad sales, rather than just in all other sales, but specifically in search, and therefore also search rank. So there's a lot of detail that you can get in there. I highly encourage every brand owner and every agency to be in there studying the data and see how it changes over time to start getting familiar. Now, that's scratching the surface of the power of what it's capable of. But at least that will give you some awareness of, wow, you know what? I spend a huge amount of money on these 5 search terms, but if I look in search, my conversion rate sucks compared to the rest of my competitive products that are out there in the niche. It's good to know. It's good to have that kind of situational awareness.
Yeah. And where to spend your money.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So
you stitch a bunch of reports together so that you get the full story of cause and effect and, comparative ranking intelligence.
So with the data, now that you've got the data, you've got the report. Now, let's not talk about the advanced seller or the intermediate seller, but the beginner to intermediate, what can they do with this data?
As far as the search query performance data?
Yeah, what would be the next step?
Yeah, so the first thing is I'm a strong believer. So I happen to know, because of the big data research that we've done, and I know somebody out there is like, well, you're not big data until you're doing billions of data points. Okay, cool. It's a lot more than humans are going to do. Let's put it that way. We're able to see on a per search term, per product niche basis, what are let's take a step back. One of the things that we didn't expect to see, I always thought the A9 relatively used the same kind of weighting as far as like, hey, is title relevance important? Is price important? Is the conversion rate important? Is, there's a bunch of different things. And we've identified about 30, right? And some of those we can they've got some overlap. But what we always thought I always thought that A9 played fairly similar and applied it, with exception of saying, some of the obvious things like a commodity, for instance, price is probably going to drive conversion rate on a commodity item. On something that is a luxury good, probably things like reviews and A+ content and these kinds of content features are probably going to be more or going to influence conversion rate. I still believe conversion rate of the product on a per search term, per product basis is the primary driver of A9, but it accounts for maybe 15 to 20% weight in the algorithm, which means you've got another, 80, 85% that goes to other factors. So what we thought is that it applied universally to all the subcategories on Amazon. It really doesn't. Each subcategory has its own profile, if you will, where price might be important in one category and not important at all in another subcategory. And yet some other subcategory, a top 5 A9 search rank factor might be something like at the out of stock rate, and this happens a lot with products that have a high seasonal peak. Amazon gets really sensitive, and apparently that's how they set up A9 is, as far as sorting, is things like, are you going to run out of stock, on me? I'm not going to show you if you continue to run out of stock on a regular basis. Some of the other ones that certainly have come up again and again are things like GeoRank and these kinds of things. But even things like FBA warehouse location, proximity, what we call proximity to customer, is where is the product relative to the shopper. That typically is only, and similar to like say price, 5 to 8% impact on search rank. Now, if you're in a highly competitive subcategory, you may need to tweak things like the price or the availability in warehouses in order to get that 1% advantage over your competition, because everybody's optimizing everything that they can. But generally what we can do is we can go much more detailed and say, for your specific subcategory, you want to identify what is important for your products to get a bump up in the search rank and focus on those rather than just doing the, I don't know if the term is cliche or not, but overused. is, oh, you need to optimize your listing, right? It's very vague recommendation that people kind of nod their head and say, yeah, I need to go optimize the listing. They've got no clue what they need to focus on or why, or what impact it's actually going to have. And I can tell you right now is title optimization, spend money on that all day long, every day, on optimizing, split testing titles, because that is the most common thing, second to conversion rate, that comes up consistently across all subcategories is title relevance. Now, there's a lot to unpack with title relevance, and I won't go into that much detail. But ultimately, if we circle back around to what does a typical brand owner need to do right now with things like search query performance, is identify, that's kind of where I would do the monologue about conversion rate being very important, is focus on what items have an above average conversion rate. Search query performance will tell you the click-through rate, average conversion rate of the subcategory as a whole, right? If you're even close to being at that or below what the average, the 50th percentile conversion rate is or click-through rate is for that category, don't bother. You're going to lose money. Sure, you can put it into your content, but chances are there's going to be a close alignment with the search terms that you're struggling to make profitable, that you're breaking even on consistently. Focus more heavily, and this actually is similar to good advertising and PPC practice, is focus on those that have the highest conversion rate, going to the products that have the highest margin. I'm shocked by how many brand owners don't know what their net profit margin profile is for their product catalog. They're like, oh yeah, we average, 15, 20%. Oh, well, except for like advertising. We didn't include advertising. Somebody else includes advertising. Somebody else includes taxes. It's all over the place, right? That's kind of where someone like, using that's probably where an advantage of some of the tools out there that focus in on tracking profit and calculate. As long as they're doing it accurately, that's actually a really good investment.
All right. Okay. So we are at the bottom of the hour and I'll try not to cough. There we go. Here, I'm going to do it again. Just a sec.
Do what you got to do.
All right. That's cleared up. We're at the bottom of the hour. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, we have something unique that comes up at the end of the podcast, and that's called the Wheel of Kelsey. And what we do at the Wheel of Kelsey is we give away a prize. Today's prize is going to be the Tariff Terminator. If you haven't heard of the Tariff Terminator, and this is full transparency, I am a co-founder of Honu Worldwide, and we're going to give away a prize today. So Tariff Terminator helps Amazon sellers make sure that they are using the right tariff codes when they're bringing products in from China. Now, we are expanding that out a little bit later, but right now it's strictly for China. What we found is that the average Amazon seller that comes to us is using, I'm talking about 80% of the Amazon sellers that come to us are using the wrong HTS codes. And what happens, and oh, by the way, Connie, look who's on today. You won't believe it. It's Brian Johnson.
Hi, Brian.
She says hi. But anyways, the people that are using the wrong tariff codes are losing a ton of cash. I was telling Brian just before the podcast that the average person saves based on the information that they give us, over $6,000. This is the average, saves over $6,000 on their shipments coming in from China. So check it out. And that's going to be our giveaway today. So if you want to enter, it is #Wheel of Kelsey. Tag 2 people, you'll get a second entry. And if you want to check out Honu and check out the different services, just go to honuworldwide.com. And that'll be our sponsorship for this. And we'll save Mr. Seller Basics till last. All right. Now we are back. I see a few Wheel of Kelsey's coming in. So now, did any of these data points surprise you?
Oh, many do actually. Yeah, for each month we come across something new that we didn't expect that begs more research, and so that's part of. We keep on adding what we call frontier questions, and those are some of the big questions that we now feel like we can answer, that we have always been kind of an open question. Things like, do sponsored brand ads truly search rank on Amazon? How and why? We'll get to that answer later this year. We haven't studied that one, but I've already got kind of a plan in mind now that we've got the data to be able to break that down and to test it further. There's other questions as far as like, can we truly pinpoint the combination of search terms that achieves the bestseller badge? We've already identified multiple cases where that is true. One of the theories that I had from years ago, that I had built a Chrome extension to test at a very low, up level, which was, does the browse node or the subcategory that your product is assigned to really make that much of a difference based off of the search terms you're going after? And yes, it absolutely does. There is both category and subcategory of individual search terms, and it does have an impact on search rank. In fact, subcategory relevance of the target, the search terms that you're going after, that you're trying to search to rank for in search, relative to the subcategory the product is assigned to, is commonly a top 10 ranking factor in A9. So it is actually very important. We haven't built a tool to analyze that in mass, but we are working on projects like that. There's another frontier questions like that we want to research further. But right now, our biggest, our biggest benefit is what we're doing for our board is helping them to expand their search sales. Yes, somewhat their ad sales, but we want the search sales to well surpass their ad sales, so that it continues to dilute things like the A cost, as far as the ad cost expense, and ultimately to get higher search rank on the search terms that they actually have the ability to go after.
Okay. And if we have any questions, I know we've got a bunch of people on listening. Let us know what your questions are. We got the man on here that can answer them. So, we got one question that just came in. Bartlett, thank you. Anybody else that has any questions for Brian, we'll get to them in a second. Brian, we've gone to a bunch of events, either together, we bumped into each other. But one of the things I love at some of these events is when you sit down there and you, like, even back 2017, right up until now, the way things have changed, what was important in 2017, and that was a huge year for things to change on Amazon. But 2017, 18, and all the way up. Can you, or do you mind if you were to go through maybe the top 5 things? Because these always change. What are the 5 things people should be doing when they're looking at their listing? And starting with the obvious is title optimization, right? Yeah, now 2024.
Yeah. The thing that I would say is pick your targets. In other words, those search terms and the audience that you're intentionally going after. Amazon likes what we call time on target, and that essentially just an attention of focus. What that means is where we are not trying to just shotgun our content, title, bullets, description, A+ content, back-end fields, everything, right? We're not simply just trying to shotgun out and to try to get, to get a hook on a little bit of, 15,000 different search terms. If you really want to rank on page 1 for search terms, then you have to narrowly focus in on those search terms and terms that are either root or stem off of those search terms, those related search terms that are closely related. Because it does seem like A9 responds well to more of a narrow focus, and they will start bringing up in search rank and in indexing and visibility a lot more related search terms as you get ranked for a target search term. What that means is that you can spend a whole lot of money on ads or to rank, to increase sales velocity and to potentially rank in search for a specific phrase. And Amazon will bring over 10, 15, 20 related search terms along with it and rise those up as well. So it's not just a one-for-one effect. The same thing. So my point on that, I guess, as far as a top 5 is focus tightly on who your target audience is and the search terms that you're trying to rank for, right? That's kind of a difficult question for most, because we use tools like Helium 10, or we might step it up to like a data dive, for instance. Both tools, frankly, they both have there's some awesome strengths in either one. I look at DeepM as kind of like an add-on to a data dive, for instance, an appendage, if you will. But there's a level of detail of knowing, okay, can I actually beat strong competitors for certain search terms? It's one thing to know, okay, there's some gaps in the market. It's another thing to know exactly what levers that you need to pull and what you need to tweak in order to actually beat and sustain that competitive advantage. Anyway, that goes back into what we're doing from a DeepM standpoint. But narrow the focus, because you're trying to get 5 out of these at me. Narrow the focus on who you're going after. Don't just shotgun. 2 is never stop split testing your title. Use Amazon A/B experiments, and just every 4 weeks you're running a new test. Just don't stop. Just become part of your standard process that your company does for each of your products that can be A/B split tested. Constantly test for conversion rate and engagement and search rank, track search rank, not simply just, hey, Amazon experiments told me I have a better conversion rate, therefore it's better. No, also understand, what did the search terms that I'm trying to rank for, did those go up? Did those go down, over time? So that's the second thing, is title optimization. Third one is, let's see here. The third one, I would go with certainly standout images is kind of a classic one. I don't know if I'd put that third. Definitely in the top 5 is making sure that your main image stands out from your competition, just to differentiate.
Right? You gave a great example on your last podcast with me about making sure or showing how a pattern interruption or how an image standing out can help in the search results. And you gave some great examples. We have, if you're on YouTube, you check it out and you can see exactly what Brian was talking about.
Yeah. From 2 years or 3 years ago.
I don't think it's been that long, but okay, we'll go with you. 3 years.
Well, I mean, there's several episodes, so maybe that was the first one. I don't know. Anyway, so top 5 would certainly include, your main image differentiating, being standout. One of the things that we found is there is a secondary benefit so the advice is, don't neglect your other child or your other sibling products. Let's say you've got a hero product in a parent family, and you've got siblings. A lot of brands simply just go in and they say, it's like, okay, that's my hero. I'm not going to spend much time optimizing my other products in there. You've got to spend some time. If you have a family that includes a hero product, a big seller, it has a secondary benefit on all the rest of the children, all the rest of the sibling products in there. So do what you can in order to optimize each of those products, maybe for slightly different search terms and different focus. because there is a secondary rollover benefit of promoting your hero product. You'll actually grow search sales, and search rank and search sales are my focus. You'll grow search sales on those other sibling products. So don't neglect your sibling products within a family just because it's like, oh, I brought out 15 other colors and I don't really care because those aren't really selling because the colors aren't popular. Don't leave it at that. Take some time, invest some time and some money into actually bringing those up to a higher level of quality and focus on a target audience. I had one last one. It's going to slip my mind now.
I can do the Jeopardy song.
Yeah, no. I was trying to. There was another one that I wanted to try to state, but yeah,
we can always come back to that, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, kind of what I was talking about as far as the taco sauce is more time. I can add this one in. It wasn't one that I was thinking of, but spend a lot more time trying to determine how do you affect the search sales, not just your ad sales. That's probably the number one thing that I would focus on. Actually, is there's so much advantage to focusing on search sales, even without the additional detail that the DeepM provides. You can still expand on your grow your search sales simply by studying things like search query performance reports a lot more closely than you currently are.
All right, that's great. Now, I know we've talked about where to find these reports, and we talked about the taco sauce. And we've touched on this question, but the use of it, can we just go back and just talk about how do sellers use the taco sauce data? I just want to make that really clear.
Yeah. So when you are looking at when you're doing ad sales, or you're saying you're spending ad dollars, you're typically running ads on keywords that you're trying to rank for. Not diminishing the value of product targeting, brand, display, all these, right? But when we're talking about as far as just from a search standpoint, the search keywords that you're going after, there's a echo that occurs. Not only do you have your ad sales data that says how well is the ad spend converting for, how is the click-through, how is the conversion rate, how is the ACOS for the ad spend to the ad sales, but also look back, tie that. Okay, now you know what, top 10 best performing keywords or search terms on ads are, and maybe what my 10 worst are. Let me go now over and look to see how is it performing in search through brand analytics and search query performance. How are those same targets performing in search, and are they performing way better or are they performing poorly? What you may find is, yes, in fact, you're losing on ad spend over here, but you're gaining it back 2 to 3 times more in search rank and search sales that you weren't even paying attention to because you're just focusing on what is my ACOS, right? That's one of the reasons why I've been a lot more vocal recently about the industry has gotten too focused in on just using ACOS and tacos, but there's the taco right in the middle there is often overlooked, and yet has a wealth of new sales growth that most brands are leaving on the table.
That's a really it's a great point. A lot of people don't think about that. In fact, I don't know any podcasts that have really covered that, which is kind of cool. Maybe you've been on Seller Sessions or a few others, but in general,
like I said, I've been underground for a while, so I'm just now starting to come out of the weeds again.
Well, we appreciate you coming on and talking about it, because that is very unique. A very unique strategy. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, and this is always great when we get together, because you always tell us about technology and where it's going or what's coming out to help better suit the Amazon seller. Anything new out there that you got your eyes on?
Well, I mean, we certainly took advantage of the fact that the technology caught up to the theory, right? To the academic research. I've never really considered myself an academic, but at the same time, I've always had questions that required a lot more scrutiny and scientific study than I was giving, than I was allowing. But what machine learning, the speed at which machine learning occurs and the modeling and analysis that occurs because of the technology, even before the language models came out, is the example that I was talking about. Like if you've got the general kind of rule of thumb, and I don't know how accurate it is, but is that 1 million data points require, 1 million data points analyzed by a human would require 1,000 man hours. So if you're talking about, let's say, 10 million data points for a specific product niche, a subcategory, browse node, and you've got 10 million data points, 1,000 man hours. So that's just not feasible. So the technology is allowing us to do things that we couldn't even take on previously. And especially when we start on our end, when we start getting up in the 100, 200 million, you're talking, that number just balloons up. It's like, it wasn't even going to be feasible for a human team to do it, even if they outsourced to, a call center in China, to analyze it. It's just, you couldn't get the man hours cheap enough in order to do the analysis. But the insights that come from it, the patterns that can be recognized, we're not even using particularly advanced machine learning algorithms in our modeling. And yet, because we don't have enough data yet, we're still not in the billions and trillions of data points yet. We probably will get there once we start crossing over to multiple Amazon marketplaces and multiple sales channels outside of Amazon. We'll start getting into hundreds of millions of data points and on up. But the technology talks that have been done this year, and I'm glad to see that, and I hope that brands embrace things like, take the time for somebody, I would say a good majority of your team, to learn things like, even like language models. You don't have to be a coder. You don't have to learn, like machine learning algorithms and modeling and, data theory and all these kind of things. Simply just use some of the tools. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. Can they greatly accelerate how you try to solve problems? Definitely. I wish I used it more often. I probably use, Chat GPT or Claude or, any of these, probably multiple times a day. And I don't think I use them enough, because every time I do, I'm like, it's like, oh man, why was I doing all this work by hand when I could have simply just, taken a bunch of content or spreadsheets and just say, just analyze and just tell me everything that you can come up with in this. Right. And sometimes it'll see things. It's just too easy for it to just point out things that you just overlook. Right. And that's kind of where, plus it's got, memory, so as the technology, especially with AI, evolves, and, Apple brings it to Siri and Amazon brings it to Alexa, and, it becomes more of our day-to-day use, we're going to be able to explore a lot more ideas in business, in product development, in understanding our target audience better, how to appeal, what their pain points are. That's stuff that I was teaching, the first month that ChatGPT came out, was go out and tell, go out and tell ChatGPT, it's like, tell me what the pain points are of people who follow this influencer on. I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Back that, that was a couple of years ago, right? So it's any company, and of course I came out of Canopy Management, which we always pride in. We have a human team, high touch, personal, only humans can do it, human intelligence. And there is a huge amount of value in that. But that was based on a philosophy of craftsmanship and, care of customer and being more precise and everything. It didn't take into consideration the sheer speed at what we can analyze and compare against competitors, for instance, like in our case, that we simply couldn't do previously. And it's a whole new wave of tools and technology that's going to give us the situational awareness as brand owners. I've got multiple brand partnerships myself, as brand owners, as service providers, that is going to help us be hyper aware of what the competition is doing and what I can do better in order to address the needs of my audience. As much as there's media talk about, oh yeah, the language models, the chat GPTs and that kind of stuff, or it's a fad and it's starting to fade, and it's like, yeah, for some it will, and for those who want to exist 5 years from now, they're actually using it on a daily basis.
I can't see how it's fading. If you're in business, you've got to be on it and continually advance on it. And it's advancing so quick that you've got to be on it, or you're just going to fall behind.
Yeah. If most of your team didn't use one of the language models this week or today, sorry. Nice knowing you.
Yep. 100%.
Some people will laugh at that and say, like, oh, that's ridiculous. Talk to me in 5 years. Talk to me in a year from now. As much as I wanted to fight it, and as much as I've gotten overwhelmed by the technology changes and everything, and not knowing what's going to come next, I can't do it. It's moving too fast. That also says that even the basics of the common tools that we already use in the Amazon space, as they integrate more and more of these, you're going to be able to pivot faster and be able to test a lot more than anybody else, than competitors, and that's,
it might not be perfect. Exactly. Okay. So before I get to the question from Bartnet, one more time, if you're interested in the prize of the day, which is the Tariff Terminator, value is $500. Hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you get a second entry. And now let's go over to Bartnet.
All right. So our question is, I'm selling in the EU. What is the alternative to your product, if there is one? What can you recommend for title, bullets, and other descriptions in Amazon listings? Thanks.
There are some. Well, for EU, yes, we're not addressing the marketplace yet. I'm sure that'll probably be second on our list. UK, Germany, that type of thing. As far as Deep M goes. You can still, presuming that the similar reports are available to you in the individual marketplace, you can still go to brand analytics and the search query performance reports. Now, if somebody can correct me on that, if they, hey, it's only available, in X, I haven't researched all of those. I'm not clear on which marketplaces don't have some of the common reports that we consider common now. Analyzing the search query performance. There's other ones, search catalog performance, and product opportunity explorer, POE. I created a Chrome extension for my own team. I've created a few Chrome extensions for our own teams. We called POEM, which was simply just product. With the M was management or something like that, or mining maybe it was. But yeah, there's a lot more reports that Amazon has that are underutilized by most brands. And they put it out there and they spent months developing these things, and then they kind of fall flat because they don't get enough attention by some of the influencers maybe. while DeepM's not available, you can certainly do your own analysis through search query performance, assuming that's available to you. When it comes to title, bullets, description, testing, both image and title testing, you could probably use one of the offhand party tools. What are they? PickFu or
Product Opinion.
Which one?
Product Opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember which one was the Carbon 6 tool, but
what is that one?
Anyway, obviously has a whole collection of tools. So I don't have any association with Carbon 6, but I like the company.
I'm checking right now. I forget.
You can do some of these popularity contests, kind of split testing, and the feedback that I've gotten from those, I've always been kind of a critic of off Amazon split testing as not being split testing at all, but it's still a popularity contest that still can work. There's just no money behind it, right? And so ultimately your litmus test is, okay, I made this change and maybe I run it through A/B testing, or just implement, did my sales go up, did it go down, did my profitability or conversion rate increase or decrease? Those are just some basic metrics that you can observe, right? There's a lot of anytime you make a title change or a content change, you should also be aware of what that change, let's say you're targeting 50 different search terms. What did that change make to your search rank? Now, here's a fun little thing that I'll add in here really quick, Norm, is one of the things that we discovered that we didn't expect was if you are great. Now I'm going to lose it again. Really? Okay. Sorry. Oh, no. Okay. Got it. So one of the things that we had always, what we didn't expect to see, but we finally saw it in the data, was that we would promote heavily through ads, through, off Amazon, whatever. And we would promote a product and the ad sales would skyrocket and everything. Right. And what we found, this is how we discovered that there's the other sibling products within a parent family get a search rank boost, even when they're not promoted by ads. There's a clue there. And what we found was that we're like, man, how come the search rank isn't climbing for the product that we're targeting intentionally? And it turns out Amazon's slow playing us. In other words, they've gotten so tired of sellers gaming the system and doing, using a service that promotes their product for 4 weeks and then stops, or does a single giveaway for 10 days and stops. So they just said, screw it. 6 week timeout. Whatever you're promoting, ad sales is going to respond, but search sales is not going to respond for 4 to probably 6 weeks. Again and again, where this slow play delay, don't just say like, oh, I made this change and nothing happened this week. Yeah, check back in 6 weeks. So it may take some time in order to analyze it, but keep in mind is that it's not just like an instant response. Amazon is intentionally, based on my observation, I'm going to theorize that Amazon is intentionally slow playing gaming of the system and temporary promotions, but then on where you're specifically targeting, but it will respond eventually. So there's a certain amount of mix of test all the time and be patient. So
yeah, what's it called? Hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait. Yeah. Well, and that kind of it's similar in concept to, like, say, what has been talked about, honeymoon, and the honeymoon period has been debated for every single year that I've been in the Amazon space. But to be able to observe this, like, look, we just dumped a whole bunch of money into ads and into ad spend and on this one product and this one group of search terms, and ad sales continue to climb, doing great. But search rank and search sales didn't climb at all. But all the rest of the family inside that product family climbed in search results because we were not promoting them. That's wild to see. Yeah. But when you can see that much, when you're looking at that much data like we are, you make those kind of observations, it's fun. I honestly, I get up in the morning and I'm having a good time. So I'm loving what we're doing.
Awesome. Okay, I think that's it for today's show, except for the Wheel of Kelsey. Brian, any contact information people want to learn more about deepm.ai?
So our website, deepm, as in deep marketplace, deepm.ai is our site. You can certainly request. It's a request demo to see if you can see if we can get you into our closed beta program. And then if you want to just reach out to me, I'm on LinkedIn, and my email, brian.johnson@deepm.ai.
Fantastic. Okay, I got an ad read. We'll come back with the Wheel of Kelsey.
Nice.
All right. This is a live ad read. I hope I don't screw it up. Okay, this is for Seller Basics. Hey, Amazon sellers, ever faced with account suspensions, ASIN hiccups, or IP headaches? Introducing Seller Basics, your Amazon accounts guardian, which is $99 per month, or code NORM, $89 per month. Seller Basics offers a dedicated team to shield your business from these challenges. Plus, this membership offers free legal consultations from seasoned e-commerce attorneys. No long-term contracts, cancel with just a month's notice, and you can view Seller Basics as your Amazon account's health plan. You can check them out at sellerbasics.com. And now for the disclaimer. Seller Basics is not an insurer or law firm. Consultations come from independent firms. Results may vary. A membership is needed before events leading to a claim, and terms apply. All right, Kels, now let's go over to the wheel.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, we're back. Now let's see if
Right.
Kelsey, can you talk?
Hello, testing.
You guys are hilarious.
All right, let's give
we
it a
are-
spin.
If you are the winner, please email me, kate@entrepreneur.com. There's currently a giant thunderstorm happening outside, so I hope my Wi-Fi stays with us.
And Howard nailed
Howard
it.
is the winner.
Congrats,
All right,
Howard.
Congratulations.
Just
All right,
contact.
yes.
Okay, talk over me. It's okay.
I think the Wi-Fi is cutting in and out.
Sure. I'm the host.
Contact me, kate@lunchwithnorm.
Okay, so that is k@lunchwithnorm.com. All right. I think that's it for today. Brian, thanks a lot for coming on. It's awesome. Don't make another 3 years. Let's get this, at least do it annually. Come on now.
Yeah, I need to start showing my face up again at the events and everything, and start making an effort to get back out there. So I look forward to seeing you in person.
Awesome. Right back at you too. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you learned something from this episode. I thought it was a very interesting topic and really wanted to dig into it. I think Brian did a great job. Okay, Kels, anything to say? Or are you? Nope. Okay, he's waving. He cannot. So I'm on my own here. All right. So join us every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to be part of the community, there's 4 different things you can do. You can listen to the podcast. You can join the newsletter. You can go on to our WhatsApp group or Facebook group. You can have a combination, whatever you want. But we have an awesome community in there. So if you want to start engaging and learning a lot more about Amazon and e-commerce, check them out. Okay, until next time, we'll see you later.
Lunch with the